Good morning, students. Today we are going to start our chapter number 9, Establishment of Company Rule in India. This is our second chapter of history, in which we will read about the importance of company rule in India. Vasco da Gama landed at Calicut in 1498 and marked the beginning of the European era in Indian history. Vasco da Gama was the first European who came to India in 1498. By the 18th century, the Portuguese had established their colony in Goa. In the next century, India became a popular destination for a number of European traders and missionaries from England, Spain, France, Holland, etc. The age of imperialism in India began with the weakening and eventually the disintegration of the Mughal Empire. The lack of a strong central authority led to the beginning of many independent states that revolted against the weak successor of Aurangzeb. They were the states of Bengal, Awadh, Hyderabad and Mysore. The Sikhs and the Marathas, the Jats and the Rajput also set up their own kingdoms. Hence, the stage was set for Europeans to take advantage of this situation. Students, now we will read what are trading companies. Many European trading companies, with the approval of their rulers from their countries, established their trading center in coastal areas of India. The trading centers were called factories, the places where officials worked. Some of the factories were fortified as a safeguard for the rival trading companies. They bought spices, cotton textiles, handlooms, indigo and saltpeter at cheap rate from Indian market and sold them in European market and American market at high prices. The huge profit margin led to a competition among the foreign trading companies. Eventually, the other trading companies had to withdraw from the India in front of English and the French companies who remained the main rival in India. Now we will read about the importance of East India Company in India. The history of the world had not witnessed a more amazing story than that of establishment of the British Empire in India. It was not the result of a deliberate effort but a series of incidents that finally led to the political dominance of India by the East India Company. The East India Company set up trading posts in Surat and the three presidency settlement at Fort Williams in Bengal, Fort St. George in Madras and the Bombay Castle. They established friendly relations with the local princes to further their profits. The Indian ruler signed many treaties to secure the help of the English military to settle their internal rivalries. Taking advantage of the situation, the British introduced the policy of divide and rule because in India there was dominance of Muslim rulers and in some states there was dominance of Hindu rulers. So Britishers very trickfully introduced the policy of divide and rule. As a result, the Indian princes became mere puppets in the hands of the English. How could a trading company become an imperial power? How a company can become a richest authority which took control over the whole nation of country like India? The real answer is that the East India Company became an imperial power to protect its trading interest from other European traders. It began as a trading company, took over political control and became the ruler of the entire India. The aim of the company was to gain monopoly of the entire trade in the East. The company came into conflict with other foreign traders and hence built up its own military and administrative department. Gradually, the trading company transformed into an auxiliary government, local government, and military power that ended over only in 1858. The Carnatic Wars. Now we will read the important episode of this chapter, the Carnatic Wars. The Carnatic Wars were a series of battles fought between the English and the French for the control of the trading ports of India during the year 1746 to 1763. Now we will read about the first Carnatic War. Student, first we should know what is Carnatic. Carnatic was a historically important trading center on the southeast coast of India near the Bay of Bengal, a region of South India between Eastern Ghats and the Coromandel coast near to Madras. The first Carnatic War was the result of Australian succession war that took place in 1740 between Austria and Prussia. England and France entered opposite side in this war. Commodore Barnett, the British naval officer, arrived in India with troops, but the French proposed peace with British. The Nawab of Carnatic, Anwaruddin, also ordered that there should not be any war. So Commodore Barnett returned to England, but French Captain Dupleix did not keep his promise and attacked Madras and occupied it. The British complained to the Nawab. The power of France weakened in India. Also, the Austrian Succession War came to end in 1748. France was forced to sign a treaty and handed over Madras back to England. Now we will read about the Second Carnatic War, which was fought during the year 1749 to 54. There was war of succession between Chanda Sahab, son-in-law of Dost Ali Khan, and Anwaruddin for the Carnatic Nawabship. The French signed a secret treaty with Muzaffar Jung and Chanda Sahab to help them with well-trained French forces. They defeated Nawab Nazir Jung and Anwaruddin, the Nawab of Carnatic, and gained monopoly of trade over South India. Anwaruddin died in the battle and his son Muhammad Ali ran away. On the other hand, the English plotted with Nazir Jung and defeated the French army. The Third Carnatic War during the 1756 to 63. In 1756, when the French besieged Madras, Robert Clive sent Colonel Ford to occupy northern Sirkar. Ford occupied northern Sirkar and brought Salabat Jung, the fourth Nizam of Hyderabad, under his control. Salabat Jung gave northern Sirkar to the British. A battle took place in 1760 at Vandewash between the English and the French. The French were defeated. Pondicherry was occupied by the British. Robert Clive succeeded in making a name for himself among the native princes. He won many battles for the English, and the French general foiled Dupleix at every turn. Eventually, French East India Company was dissolved in 1770. The French ambition of establishing an empire in India ended, and the British supremacy was firmly established in India. Now we will read about conquest of Bengal. The British wanted the control of the rich province of Bengal. Bengal was the very important state of at that time. Alverdi Khan, the Nawab of Bengal, was an able administrator. He had followed a policy of keeping the European merchant under control, but after his death, his grandson Sirajudaulah became the Nawab. The British started extending the fortification of Calcutta. Meanwhile, while Sirajudaulah troops took over Calcutta, Robert Clive set out from Madras with an army of 900 European and 1200 sepoys armed and trained in the European style of warfare and recaptured Calcutta. Now we will read about Battle of Plassey. Robert Clive was the first administrator of Bengal who was regarded as one of the creator of British power in India. In his governorship, he won the Battle of Plassey and became the master of Bengal. Battle of Plassey was fought between the forces of East India Company under Robert Clive and the army of Sirajuddaula at Plassey between Calcutta and Murshidabad. Mir Jafar, who wanted to become the Nawab, bribed Indian soldiers to throw away their weapon. Robert Clive easily won the battle. The British consolidated their position in Bengal by making Mir Jafar the Nawab of Bengal. He gifted large sum of money and 24 parganas of Bengal to the British. But Mir Jafar could not fulfill the constant demands of the British, so Britishers announced his son-in-law Mir Qasim as the Nawab. He granted equal trade facilities to the British and the Indian merchants. This annoyed the British and they attacked him. Mir Qasim took refuge at Awadh with Sujauddaulah, where Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II was also taking refuge. Now we will read about one of the important incident, that is Battle of Buxar. It was very important in the history of India. The East India's Company victory in this battle established British colonial rule in Bengal Presidency and subsequent expansion of British control all over India. Mir Qasim, the Nawab of Bengal, refused to be a puppet in the hands of the British. He wanted complete control of Bengal. He wanted to check the growing power of the official of the East India Company. It resulted in a conflict and led to the Battle of Buxar. The battle was fought between the British East India Company led by Major Hector Munro and the armies of Mir Qasim, Shah Alam II, Mughal Emperor and Sujauddaulah, Nawab of Awadh at Buxar. The battle was beneficial for the expansion of the power of the East India Company. It gained the rule and the Diwani, the right to collect the revenue from Bengal, which included Bihar and Odisha. Bengal was a very big state at that time. There was Bihar, Odisha, West Bengal and the Bangladesh was all included in Bengal. So Battle of Bengal was very important battle for the Britishers in the time of Indian history. The East India Company in this battle, they won this battle and they got control over Bengal Presidency, and it helped the Britishers to establish their rule in all the other states of India. Now the army of the Britishers learned all the tricks how they can make control over all the Indian states. They know that Indian people are very corrupted people. They could be easily defeated with the help of money they bribed. So now we will read about dual government in Bengal. When British East India Company took control over Bengal, they took no responsibility about the administration of that state. They just wanted to collect more and more money so that they can build their army and they can make more progress in the ruling of other states of India. right to collect Diwani by the British began a dual government in Bengal. Now the Nawab had to look after the administration, and the company controlled the army of Bengal. They control the judiciary, and they collect all the money. They collect all types of taxes from even from the common people, or from the farmers, or from other trades. They just wanted to collect more and more money from the Indian people. This arrangement gave immense power. Now the Britishers became more and more powerful, and have they had taken no responsibility for the welfare of the common people. Now the dual government gave them more power, and they are taking no responsibility for the common people. But the general public suffered during the famine in 77 in Bengal. Thousands of people died in Bengal, but the British East India Company did not help the common people of India, and Nawab was not able to fulfill the needs of the common people. Because Nawab did not have the resources. All the money was collected by the Britishers through the taxes, and Nawab did not have any kind of resource. So people of Bengal were against the Britishers. In 1772, Warren Hastings, governor of Bengal, abolished the dual government and gained the control over Bengal. The British passed the Regulating Act of 1773 to regulate the activities of the East India Company, but the corruption of the company official continued. Therefore, 1784 Pitt's India Act was passed. It set up a board to control the shortcomings of the Regulating Act of 1773. So students, in this video we have covered important topics of establishment of company rule in India, in which we read about East India Company, what were trading companies. We also read about the Carnatic Wars. There were 3 Carnatic Wars fought during the year 1746 to 1763. Now we also read about the conquest of Bengal, Battle of Plassey, Battle of Buxar.